What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. We're just about done with our day here. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon here. So we're just about done. So thank God. It's been a long day. What's up, Linda? How are you? We are still talking a little bit about Karen Read. I think it's really important that we continue to talk about her and we continue to bring awareness here especially because her civil case has technically begun. The process has technically begun. Maybe we should have done that. So, what's up, Skulls? We had a great conversation earlier. Linda, I think you were there for that. We had an awesome conversation. A lot of people had no idea who Karen Read was. I'm like, how do you guys not know who Karen Read is? But apparently there's a huge group of people that have no clue. No clue. What's up, Petra? So in the earlier live, we did talk about a little bit about Karen Read, about how the process went, the things that were not included in the trials, the things that were included in the trials, and there was so many people that had no idea, no clue, and I'm like, how? But you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because the whole point of this is to continue to bring awareness, and the reason why is not essentially for Karen Read. The main reason why I want to continue bringing awareness around this case is because of her boyfriend, the one who was unalived. He was a Boston police officer. This Boston police officer did not know he was going to be unalived that night. This police officer was not the type of guy that just would, just put his hands on somebody. It just doesn't make sense. It's not his style, nothing at all. So I want to continue bringing awareness to this case because of her boyfriend at the time, John O'Keefe. Does anyone here, there's a few hundred of you, about 250 of you right now. Out of everyone here, anyone here not know this individual behind me, not know Karen Read? Anyone at all not know anything about her? I nope. Anyone here have no idea? Just by like let me know if you guys know. It is definitely a thing, Petra. What's up, Mama W? So there's a few of you that have no idea, and that's okay, and that's absolutely okay. So I'm going to give you guys a brief rundown of who she is. Number one, this was like literally the number one trial in history. Next to Casey Anthony and O.J. Simpson, this was literally like this was like just as big, if not actually, they said it was actually bigger than Casey Anthony and O.J. Simpson. So this is Karen Read. She was accused of unaliving her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, who is a Boston police officer. Now, none of it adds up. None of it makes sense. I was talking about on the live before that there's a lot of things that just don't add up and don't make sense. There's two theories. One, the police are saying that she backed into her boyfriend, and that's why her taillight was damaged. And the other theory is that she was set up by all those cops. Yes, Emily, she was found not guilty in criminal court, but she is still now being sued in civil court. So Emily just kind of gave that away, and that's completely okay. There is a document, it may still be out there. It's called A Body in the Snow, Stephanie. It was on Netflix or maybe A&E, but just Google, you're good, Emily, you're good. Just Google A Body in the Snow, Karen Read, and you will see, the documentary. It was done like a year ago, not even a year ago. You're welcome. So take a quick look at it there. I was on the live earlier and I was talking a lot about how this whole case doesn't really add up for her to be liable for all this. Nothing lines up at all. She did it and she wants to get away with it and be like OJ. Krim, I don't think so. No evidence actually lines up to her hitting her boyfriend. Nothing at all. Appreciate you, Stephanie. Thank you. I think she was absolutely set up. I think that she was lined up to lose from the very beginning, but she didn't. She ended up winning. But now she has to deal with a lawsuit in civil court of her boyfriend's family. The boyfriend's family is suing her for wrongful unaliving, negligent driving, and also emotional distress. If you guys don't know, if you guys didn't know, her boyfriend at the time was the caregiver of his niece and nephew. So she had to let them know that John, her boyfriend, was not going to come home. So that was the emotional distress that the family is talking about. The family's also suing the two bars. The two bars are the places that Karen Read and John O'Keefe were at before he went back to 34 Fairview and ultimately was unalived, however way it happened. But even those bars are saying, what's up, Chickaby? Even those bars are saying, well, why are we liable? They left the bar at like midnight, and this, from what we understood, happened a few hours later. Why are we liable? She could have had more alcohol after she left the house, after she left the restaurant. Why are we at fault for this? So that's what they're fighting for right now. She is suing a whole bunch of people at this stage. She's suing, if you guys know these names, she's suing Brian Albert, she's suing Brian Higgins, she's suing Michael Proctor, Yuri Buchanan, Lieutenant Tully, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe. If you guys don't know who those people are, those are all the key players in this trial. She is 100%. She absolutely does, Crystal. I agree with you. She absolutely has every right to do that, and here we go. So the actual civil trial started yesterday. When I want to be very clear, that civil trial that started yesterday, that was just the first motion, the first hearing. The judge wanted an opportunity to understand, hey, like, where are we going with this trial? What is the goal here? And we found out yesterday she's suing a lot of people, and the judge wasn't ready for that. And you know what? Neither was the O'Keefe family. Now, listen, I have nothing against the O'Keefe family. They lost their loved one. Paul lost his brother, John. I think her name is Pam, lost her son. I completely get that. But the fact that they're going after Karen still, after all the corruption that was exposed, that the police were trying to line it up that she was actually at fault when she wasn't, and they still want to sue her, wow, doesn't add up to me. None of it adds up to me. If you guys want to hear a quick little synopsis of the information that was stacked against her in the corruption, I have no problem telling you. But I want to make sure that we're still bringing awareness to this, because we want to make sure that John O'Keefe does get the justice that he does deserve. One big thing. Alan, let me tell you, one big thing. Here's the biggest piece of corruption that I want to bring to your attention. If you guys were on the live before, then you guys probably recognize this, but I'm going to say it again. The district attorney of Norfolk County, Kendra, she's got like 5. The district attorney for Norfolk County here in Massachusetts, which is the county that she's being sued from, not out of, because it's in Plymouth County right now, but sued from originally was Norfolk County. The DA's name is Michael Morrissey. We like to call him Meatball Morrissey because the man's round. Like, let's be real. Dude's an arancini with legs, okay? You know what an arancini is? No, it's a freaking Italian rice ball, okay? It's a fried ball of rice with some cheese and beef in it, okay? It's an arancini with legs. That's Michael Morrissey. Here's where things happen. Michael Morrissey, the district attorney, okay, was given 3,000 pages. You guys like that one? 3,000 pages of information from the FBI saying, essentially, they can't say, hey, this is the wrong person, but they say the information that you have that you're pointing at Karen Read is not accurate. The information we gather does not point to Karen Read. It points elsewhere. You need to focus your efforts elsewhere. 3,000 pages Michael Morrissey, the DA of Norfolk County, had, and he still went after Karen Read. After he had over 3,000 pages from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the DOJ, he still went after Karen Read. That's a problem, guys. If that's not corruption, I don't know what is. 3,000 pages and you still go after somebody else? Doesn't add up. It just does not add up. And Ali, I think that's a valid point. He didn't think it was going to be as big or as loud as it came. Absolutely. That's a good statement there, Ali. I'm gonna piggyback off of that. So Ali pretty much said that the district attorney didn't know it was going to be this big, and I 100% agree with that. I think that the district attorney thought that he was just going to scare Karen Read, and she was just going to kind of roll over and just take it. But she didn't, did she? No, she fought it tooth and nail on trial 1 in April 2024, and it found out to be a hung jury. Now, we heard from that jury, and I will shut up, guys, in just 1 second. We heard from members of jury 1, and there were questions of like, hey, why were you guys so hung? What happened? They said, well, we were 9-3. 9, she was not guilty. 3, she was guilty. On other counts, we were 8-4. But they all said, we knew that she wasn't guilty of the bigger charges. We knew that. But we need to understand the lesser charges, and nobody would explain it to us. We didn't have any answers there, and we don't know why they wouldn't give us those answers. So right off the bat, they said, look, if we can't agree, we have to we're hung. We're at an impasse is how they worded it. In trial number 2, they spoke to the jurors, which, by the way, trial 2, she was found not guilty. She was found guilty of one thing, and that was driving or operating a vehicle over the legal alcohol limit of 0.08%. However, we did hear from a couple of the jurors, and every one of them simultaneously at different times, well, I guess that's not simultaneously, but we're all said the same thing, but interviewed at different times. The biggest issue that we had, and if you guys didn't know this, the lead investigator did not testify in trial number 2. The lead investigator, the main investigator, the main name, did not testify. They wanted to hear from him. Number 2, the owner of the house did not come out when Karen was screaming and yelling outside, and there was emergency vehicles, there was blue police lights, there was red fire lights, there was orange and red EMT lights. There's Karen screaming at the top of her lungs, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and nobody came out. They wanted to know really why the homeowner of that home did not come out of the house. They didn't believe for 1 second that the homeowner stayed in the house because he didn't hear anything. They believed that the homeowner didn't want to come out, and that's a serious issue. Oh, and if you guys are wondering about that homeowner, he also didn't testify in trial number 2. Ian E. Duggan, 100%. Right after the incident that occurred in January 2022, where John O'Keefe's body was found by the flagpole, within a year, the dog was rehomed, the house was sold, they redid the basement, they chopped up the cement basement floor, and they moved out of the house, all in that year. Very fishy, if you ask me. Very, very fishy, if you ask me. Yes, the rug was pulled up and they chopped up all of the cement in the basement. I believe you. I mean, what you're saying is not crazy. Is it Yaya Wild? What you're saying is not crazy. Oh, yes, Kelly, that's also correct, but I will go into that. So, Candace, hey, Christy, why did they get rid of all that stuff? Why did they move? Why did they rehome their dog? None of us truly and actually know, but let me tell you guys this about the house. The house was in the Albert family for generations. He didn't have a mortgage on that house. So why get rid of it? If you knew you were going to retire, why would you sell that house? Which, by the way, he has a few brothers, so it's not like he's going to get all that money. That money's going to be dispersed. So why move on from that house, then retire, and then give yourself a mortgage? Wouldn't it make sense to stay in the house if you don't have a mortgage since you're gonna retire? To me, that makes some sense. But hey, what do I know? Hey, Scola, what do I know? The cell phones, that's another good one, and that's a good point. So I want to go into that. So let's talk about the cell phones. Every single one of them had issues with their cell phone, like Brian Albert. He is the owner of 34 Fairview, and he is the owner of the house where the front lawn is where John O'Keefe was found unalived by a flagpole. So, just in case you're wondering, why didn't he have his original phone, the phone that he would have made phone calls with on the night that everything happened in question? He got rid of his phone. He said, I don't know, I got rid of my phone. No one told me I needed to keep it, so I got rid of it. Hold that thought. What about Brian Higgins? Brian Higgins made phone calls that night. He actually said in trial 1, I didn't make any phone calls that night. He said maybe like a butt dial. He said, he goes, it was like accidental butt dial, but I didn't make any phone calls. Well, guys, guess what? In trial number 2, we actually saw Brian Higgins on the phone outside of Canton PD. We saw him on the phone, guys. He literally was like this, and you could see the phone illuminating by his cheek. So he did make a phone call. But you're probably wondering, where is that phone? Oh, guys, he didn't just get rid of that phone, by the way. He went to a military base to get rid of the phone. He didn't just throw it away, guys. He brought it to a military base and disposed of the phone there. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? And Brian Higgins didn't have his phone anymore, and neither did Brian Albert. Why? Why? But let me ask you guys this question. How come those phones were gone, but Karen Read's wasn't gone? Think about that. Think about that. Why is their phones gone, but Karen Read's phone was never gone? Karen Read gave her phone to Mass State Police. How come her phone wasn't gone? Doesn't make sense, does it? Guys, the corruption goes deep. So deep. I'm telling you. So there's a lot more there. I want to make sure I answer some questions for a couple minutes before I keep going. Does anyone have any questions right now? And all of you that have followed, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate. What's up, Tyler? I greatly appreciate the support. Any of you who have not followed yet, please consider doing so. As I mentioned, I do appreciate the support from you guys. So thank you so much. What other questions do you guys have? Yep, she was definitely set up. Christina, this is the Karen Read case. Where can we watch this? So it is called A Body in the Snow. That's the name of the documentary that she did about a year ago. Actually, it was released about 6 months ago. But it's called A Body in the Snow. And you can find that on Netflix. From what I understand, it's still on Netflix. If not, you can find it somewhere like Peacock or something like that. But it is available for you guys to watch. Brian Higgins is still an ATF agent. What his capacity is, from what we understand, is he is no longer on the street. He's on desk duty. The maximum they can sue in civil court is the maximum that they want, like whatever they want. There's a minimum of $50,000 they can sue for a max. They have to have sufficient evidence to prove that value amount. For example, you can't go after someone for a wrongful unaliving and go after them for like $500 million. It doesn't work like that. There's typically a value number. So for example, they'll say, well, the average American makes, let's say, I don't know, I'm going to make this up, $50,000 a year. This John O'Keefe was 42 years old. He probably would have worked for 23 more years. So $50,000 times 23, whatever that value is, that's the number they give you. That's typically the math, how they figure it out. Now, of course, if there's other assets and stuff involved, there's other stipulations as well, but that's the standard. What do I think actually happened? I believe that she dropped John off at the party, at the house. She waited for a couple minutes, waiting for him to come out. He did not come out, as we know. He went into the house. I believe he got punched in the face. Thanks, Whitney. Got punched in the face because he looked like he had like some blood from his nose and his eyes, and fell back, hit his head. The red bodily fluids went everywhere. What's up, Julie? And that's when he started to seize and convulse. And I believe that's where the cover-up began. I don't think she had anything to do with it. I think it was one big accident. And to be completely transparent, I don't even think the people in the house that were involved in this meant for this to happen. I truly don't. I don't think so. I think they wanted to maybe get into a little fight like most guys do, just to solve their beef and move on. And that's it. And it ended up turning nefarious, as you guys saw. Since Karen was found not guilty, is this case still open? Yes, Karen, because they still need to technically have someone to hold liable. So this case will always stay open until they have somebody. Yes. And where did the dog get involved? So the dog, in my opinion, guys, this is just my opinion. I wasn't there. But in my opinion, the dog got involved when he fell down. And when he fell down and he hit his head on the concrete, he started to shake and convulse. And I feel that the dog got very nervous, didn't know, and startled her. It was a female dog. And she jumped and latched onto his arm because his arms would have been out like this. She latches on. They pull the dog off. And that's where I believe the actual wounds from the dog ended up on his arm. Do you guys know the wound? Have you guys seen the picture of the wounds of his arm with the dog bites on it? Did they invite them over? So Casey, from what we do understand, yes, they were invited over. All right, so you guys did. All right, so if you didn't, let me see if I can just add that picture real quick. I want you guys to be able to see it. Give me 1 second. There it is, right there. So I want you guys to just take a quick look here. By yes or no, did these look like dog bites or a dog scratch and bites? By yes or no. Does this look like dog bites to you? And scratches, just by yes or no. Okay. Now, there were some people that said no. So the ones that said no, if someone, either Amy or Jenny Lynn, if you could pin anyone here who said no, please explain why. I saw defensive sharp object wounds, but there was no defensive sharp object wounds there. That wouldn't be this. These would not be defensive KNIFE wounds. These are in line with claws. Same here. There's 4 of them in a row right here. Those would be aligned with teeth. Incisor, incisor, and then the small canines in the middle. So to me, it's not defensive knife wounds. They're trying to say that it was hit by a taillight. There was no KNIFE involved. Correct, Scola. It definitely doesn't look like a car hit him. It looks like an animal attack. That's what it looks like. At least in my opinion, it looks like an animal attack. Now, a lot of people don't know the difference of an animal attack versus a taillight. Does anyone believe that a taillight could do that? Yes or no? You guys saw the pictures. Does anyone here believe a taillight could do that damage? Anyone here believe that, yes or no, that a taillight could do that damage if a taillight were to hit you? Yep, there you go. Taillight wouldn't do that, guys. A taillight is a solid, I call it plexiglass, but it is solid plexiglass. If that hits you, it's not going to create those multiple scratches all the way up the arm. It doesn't make sense. Different depth of those scratches, no. It wouldn't do it. It wouldn't do it. They had a crash reconstructionist go through and try to prove it. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And that's the big thing, and that's why we don't believe that she... because I had to increase the brightness on my phone. So that's why we don't believe she's liable. Now, a lot of people have different questions about the dog. Let me ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever seen... Sarah, you're good. Have you guys ever seen... have you guys ever seen a dog, a canine dog, when it's training? Have you guys ever seen those YouTube videos where a canine dog is training and they bite? They're trained to bite. Have you guys ever seen those videos? Where do those canine animals typically bite? It's usually someone in a bite suit. Where do they typically bite? What part of the body? E-Dug, and you're good. It was not a police dog, but it was owned by a police officer. Correct, guys. They are told in training, they are told to bite the arm. Hence, that's why they're always on the arm. So, again, let me ask you guys this question again. Look where those wounds are. Let me get out of the way. Look where those wounds are. They're in the exact location that a dog will go for, the elbow. Look at that. And I agree, E. Duggan. There's a very good chance that Brian Albert, being a gang detective in Boston PD, probably trained his dog at least a little bit. But take a look at that. Everything here is in line with the exact location that a dog would be trained to attack. It's the way it works. Now, there's one more thing I want to say about police dogs. I think there's a very common misconception. Anyone here law enforcement or prior law enforcement or married into law enforcement? Anything? Anyone here? Law enforcement, prior law enforcement, married into law enforcement? Anybody? So, Karen, it is being investigated by the FBI. Perfect. And everyone here that has law enforcement background, married into law enforcement, prior law enforcement, married into it, as I said, here's my statement. And I want you guys to tell me if this is true, and I want you to say yes or no. A police canine is trained to bite. A police canine is not trained to bite a suspect. The dog doesn't know the difference of a suspect and a cop. It is trained to bite, and bite, that's it. That's all they're trained to bite. That's all they're trained to do is to bite. So when they're trained to bite here, or the leg, or the arm, it doesn't matter. They are trained to bite. That's it. They don't know if it's a suspect. They don't know if it's a victim. They don't know if it's a cop. They are trained to bite until their handler tells them to come off. And most of the time, guys, they don't come off right away. They have to be kind of pat on the side. They have to hear because they go into the red. Okay? So the truth of the matter is that dog was on John O'Keefe's arm. You could see the bite mark, you could see the claws, and you can see how the dog was pulled off, hence how they got deeper, because it was trying to latch on to that arm. That was a dog. That's a dog bite. Those are dog scratches, dog bites. And if you guys didn't know, there was a dog bite expert that was in the actual, in the courtroom that they had for 2 days. Oh my God, I forget her name. She's a cute little old lady. Dr. Russell, I think was her name. She was up there and she goes, I've done many, many dog bites. And she said, that's a dog. And she goes, there's the incisor, there's the canine, there's this jawline, here's that jawline, here's the claws, here's this. She was very, very clear. Very clear. And I agree. That dog was probably protecting, what's up, Liz? Probably protecting her human or her master, whatever you want to call it. Absolutely. I don't think that dog was thrown into the mix on purpose. Like, okay, go after him. I don't think that was it at all. But I do believe that dog was trying to defend herself or the owner somehow, some way, and latched on. Oh, I get it, E. Duggan. I get it, 100%. 100%. What other questions you guys have? Can you talk about Jen McCabe's steps from her watch? So, the thing about Jen McCabe, if you guys don't know who Jen Tooth McCabe is, yes, you heard me right, Jen Tooth McCabe. If you guys haven't heard much about Jen McCabe was supposed to be a friend of John O'Keefe. I don't believe she was really that much of a friend. I believe we know where her loyalty really went. But I don't believe that she's really a friend of John O'Keefe's. So Jen Tooth McCabe, she said she loved him. She said he was my friend and I loved him. So let me ask you guys a question. There's about 500 of you right now. I want to know what you guys think about this. In April, yes, there will be arrest by the feds. She is not a cop's wife. I want to ask you guys this question, and I want to like kind of see what you guys think. If Jen McCabe, or if you guys were like really truly a friend to somebody, and that friend that you said that you loved and you really cared for, and he was a friend of yours for a very long time, and you found him unalived on the ground, would you say on the 911 call, yeah, there's a guy down here laying in the snow? Yes or no? Would you say there's a guy down here laying in the snow? Yes or no? April, yes. There will be arrest, yes. Yeah, she loves him. I loved him. He was a friend of mine. I've known him for so long. Yeah, there's a guy down here in the snow. If you're wondering where I got that from, that's the 911 call. There's a guy down here in the snow. Does anyone know what time John O'Keefe was found in the snow? Does anyone know? What time was John O'Keefe found in the snow? Does anybody know that answer? What time was John O'Keefe found? Roughly what time? Doesn't have to be exact. Roughly what time was he found in the snow? Yep, it's around 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, Jen McCabe, guys, said, oh, I didn't know anything about this. Last time I saw Karen Reed was around 12:15-ish in the morning when she was out front of the house. That's it. Do you guys know that on the 911 call, Jen McCabe was asked by the 911 dispatcher, how long has he been out there? And she goes, I don't know, a couple of hours. Wait a minute. Hold the cake and then give it back to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, a couple of hours. I'm sorry. If I saw somebody in the snow that I've never, ever heard, like, didn't know, like, this happened is what I'm saying. Like, when I say I never heard, didn't know this happened, and I loved him, and he was a good friend of mine. And, wait. What do you mean a couple of hours? How would you know that? How would you know that? And yes, guys, this was in the 911 call. How would you know that it's been a couple of hours? What do you guys think? She absolutely slipped. She told the truth in that moment. And you guys know this when I was talking about this on my prior account before it got hacked. She slipped. She told the truth right there. And do you guys know why a couple of hours actually lines up to the theory? Do you guys want to know? I tell them, like, come back to me, guys, and say yes. Do you guys want to know why a couple of hours actually lines up to the theory? Their theory. You guys want to know why? Because, guys, he was found around 6 o'clock in the morning. Around 3:15 in the morning, a Ford Edge, which was a Ford Edge that was owned by the Alberts, was seen in front of the flagpole at 3:15-ish in the morning by the plow driver. 3:15 in the morning, because the plow driver, there was snow on the ground. There was a snow emergency. All the cars needed to be off the street. He was plowing, and he saw the vehicle right outside the flagpole. Do you guys know where John O'Keefe's body was found? Where was John O'Keefe's body found, guys? It was found by the flagpole. By the flagpole. That's where he was found, was by the flagpole around 3:15 in the morning. She calls 911 around 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, wouldn't a couple of hours be around 3:15? I know it's 3 hours, but about a couple of hours. Doesn't that line up with her thinking the theory of, I'm going to blame the plow driver and say that he must have been hit by a plow because we haven't seen him and maybe he was outside for a couple of hours. Guys, if you truly don't know what happened, if I was just walking and I saw a body on the ground and they asked me, how long has he been out there? I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know. I got here like a minute ago and I called you guys. I have no idea. Right? What do you guys think, right? You wouldn't just sit there and be like, oh, I don't know, a couple of hours. That's a very random thing to say. Very random. Now, I want to bring a real quick piece up here about cameras. I want to talk about the cameras, guys, really, really quickly. Really want to talk about the cameras real quick before I answer some more questions. I saw some questions I want to make sure I answer. Here's my question. Do you guys remember me saying that, Jesse Lynn, that's where I'm going into. Do you guys remember me telling you on the previous live that there was cameras? There was Ring cameras in the front of the Albert house and then the house across the street. But for some reason, those cameras didn't record. I believe it was an accident in April. Do you guys remember me saying that? There were cameras, but they didn't record or it wasn't plugged in or something like that? Well, let me ask you guys a question. If the cameras themselves were operable and the Alberts didn't do anything wrong and nothing nefarious happened, don't you think all these cameras would have been working so that they would exonerate you? But the fact is they said, oh, no, they weren't working. They weren't working. They didn't even let them look at it, guys. If you guys didn't know it, they didn't even let the police look at it. They simply asked Brian Albert, did your Ring camera record? He said, no, it wasn't plugged in. They never even checked. They just asked his question. They just asked his opinion. He goes, oh, they don't work. What do you mean they don't work? If you're adamant that you did nothing wrong, then those cameras would have exonerated you. Like, listen, I didn't do anything here. Look at the cameras. But they didn't work, he said. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So a couple people asked some questions like, what do you think happened? Guys, I believe it was an accident. I believe that he went into the house and, correct, April, yes. So April said the guy across the street, he was a Canton lieutenant at the time. He's now deputy chief of police in Canton. His camera footage faced the house, faced 34 Fairview. And the cop that was investigating goes, oh, I didn't even check that. Hey, Darla, I didn't even check that house. Or I didn't check that camera. They go, why not? He goes, well, because it doesn't face in the same direction, so I didn't check it. So David Yannetti, which is one of her defense attorneys, goes, well, wait a minute. You didn't check it at all? He goes, no. He goes, don't you know him personally? He goes, yes. He goes, does your personal relationship with that individual, is that the reason why you didn't dig deeper? And he goes, no. Come on. You can literally see the house from across the street, guys. I drove it. The house is like right there. It's very easy. It faces the front of the house. It's that simple. And Robin Birch, that lieutenant, works for Canton PD. He's now the deputy chief of police. So, Darla, this is the Karen Reed case. So, what questions do you guys have? Because I want to make sure I answer as many as I possibly can. You're welcome, Robin. I believe the street has several Canton and Boston PD officers. Yes, there was the cop across the street. There was the Brian Albert's house. And then at the very end of the road, there was also another cop, Canton cop. Afton, it didn't pick up anything because they didn't even check it. They never checked the actual camera footage. None of it. They just asked them, hey, does your cameras record? No, they don't. Okay, thank you. April, I'm here for you. So do you guys want to know a little personal story that happened in front of my house not 9 months ago? It has to do with cameras and a person. This is kind of like a personal thing, but nothing really crazy. Well, it is kind of crazy when you hear it, but I want you to understand how proper police work works. I was going to Las Vegas and I left around 4:30 in the morning to go to the airport. And I saw a car parked out front of the house with the driver's side door open. Now, I was like, oh, that's weird. It's like friggin' January. It's probably cold out. And I'm like, all right. And we just drove. I was in an Uber and we drove away. My wife calls me 3 hours later. I shit you not, guys. She calls me 3 hours later. She goes, hey, the cops are here. I go, what'd you do? And the cop goes, hey, man, did you notice anything weird when you left this morning? I'm like, you talking about the blue car? And he goes, yes. What'd you notice? I'm like, well, the driver's side door was open. I thought that was kind of weird, but I just figured someone was running in and running out. Like, I didn't really think much of it after that. Why? And he goes, I can't really get into it. But he goes, did you notice anything else? I said, no. He goes, all right. We also were able to look through the cameras. We saw you leave, but we weren't able to pick up anything else. Any way you could kind of mess with the cameras and see if you can change the settings. Maybe it picked up something in the memory. I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Nothing picked up because we had the sensors. Like, we took away because we're on like a residential street and cars go back and forth, and it would just pick it up and send us alerts all day. So we took the cars out, and that's why it didn't pick it up. So here's my whole point of telling you guys this more personal story. When the cop called and asked questions, he asked about the cameras. He already saw the cameras. He went through it, then said, hey, any way you can look back and see if there's anything that's been stored or saved, because he wanted to genuinely find out what happened out there. Turns out there was a guy that passed out on, like, he got out of the car and he may have slipped, hit his head. We actually don't know. And that was it. But I have trees in front of my house and a big fence, and we couldn't see it. And he just goes, I just don't know if you saw anything, if your cameras picked up anything. I go, no, nothing at all. Couldn't see anything. Like, it focused on the front. We have a long driveway. It focuses on the front, but I'm like, it didn't pick up on it. I'm like, I can give you access to it if you want. He goes, no, that's not necessary, but just if there any way you can save. And I'm like, yeah, we'll save all the clips. That was it. That's what an ethical cop, Amanda, right? That's what an ethical cop does. That's the investigation. But he wouldn't say, if I said to him, well, it's deleted, he would immediately say, well, may I ask why it was deleted? Now, of course, some people say, am I a suspect? But the truth is, he should be asking, why was it deleted? Why would you delete that? But the fact is, I know I didn't, and everything was fine. They ended up finding out that he did. He slipped and he fell. He hit his head, and God rest his soul. But the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is that's what an ethical cop does. They ask questions. They didn't do that in this case. They didn't. They didn't ask to see the cameras. They just said, hey, does your cameras work? Yeah, they didn't record. Okay, thank you so much. That's how they looked at it. Okay, thank you for trying. Yeah, Kelsey, it is literally that simple. Like, it's that simple. They didn't ask Brian Albert, I need to see your camera footage. Can you give it to me? No, they just said, oh, is there anything that you have? No, I don't have anything. Okay. It's probably going to take April years. So that's the worst thing about it. And I agree with you, Robin. I do believe they already knew what happened on that night, but they did not want to implicate their own. You know, that blue wall is real. Listen, guys, I back the blue no matter what. But when things are wrong, you got to call it out. You absolutely got to call it out. You can't you can't do things incorrectly here, right? When there's a bad apple, there's just a bad apple. It doesn't mean the whole group is bad, but we got to make sure that we do the right thing if there's a bad apple. So there's a lot going on. A lot of people just ask questions like, are we going to get arrested? Who's investigating it? Guys, the FBI is still in on this case. They are still in on this case. Absolutely. It probably won't have an arrest for a very long time. I would probably say another couple of years before we see an arrest. I do think Karen suing all these people is going to lead to an arrest, but we already know that's probably not even going to happen until at least 2027, and then maybe an arrest about a year later. So you're probably talking another 2.5, 3 years from now. If anyone doesn't know what HOSLONG stands for, HOSLONG, if you guys see this comment right there, by the way, resting witch face, that's not a typo, by the way. If you guys didn't know, that is not a typo. HOSLONG is what Jen McCabe typed at 2:28 on her phone on Google. HOSLONG to die in the cold is what she typed into her Google search, because she was trying to say how long, but ended up coming out HOS instead of HOW. So that was not a typo. If you guys are like, what is she saying? It's not a typo. That was most likely done on purpose, right? Resting witch face. Yeah, she was a real great friend. Real great friend, Duggan. Real great. Jessica, can they all countersue Karen? For what? There's no defamation of her. There's no nothing like that. Can they sue her? Yeah, I mean, in this is Massachusetts, you could sue a cat and just say the cat walked on my lawn. But I don't think they're going to sue her. I wonder what Colin is doing his time now. So Colin is going to be involved with this. They're going to be able to question him and go into complete detail about him. Can't do that in criminal court, but you can do it in civil court. Darla, yes. Yes. It absolutely will. I was going to put the live on that I did earlier, but I was trying to like load something and it wasn't loading and I was getting really upset and I was like, that's the people, whatever. But this one will be on there. Do you think the O'Keefes are pressured to drop it? No. Nope. They gave away their dog on purpose or they unalived the dog. Can you imagine if she didn't have any financial support for someone else? So, E-Duggan, I think that's kind of like the thing. I think the DA, Michael Morrissey, I think he thought that he could just go after her and she was just going to kind of roll over and just kind of take it. But when she came back firing, I think at this point she's like, okay, let's do this, right? And I don't think he was prepared for it. So that's what I believe there, guys. All the new followers, thank you so much. If you guys have not... if you guys have not followed yet, please consider following now. I greatly appreciate it. Worcester, I think the bars will settle, but I don't think they're going to settle for a lot. They're probably going to say, look, we'll give you $5,000 and that's it. Or $10,000, that's it. It's not going to be anything big because they can't prove that Karen left that bar immediately and did anything illegal. They don't know if she consumed more alcohol after leaving the house or leaving the bar. They can't confirm any of that. So I think they may settle to just kind of get it out of their, get it off their backs. But it won't be for a lot of money. So Stan, Karen already won the criminal case, but she is now being sued civilly by the O'Keefe family. Yeah. Thank you guys for all those new followers. I greatly appreciate you guys. Seriously, I mean that. What's your theory? So Old Track Dan. So my theory is very simple. My theory is that it was an accident. And my theory is that he went into the house, they got into an altercation, he fell back, hit his head, and that's where everything happened, and that's where the cover-up began. Jamie, yes, she is suing them, Jamie, but the whole civil case that originated was because the O'Keefes were suing her and the Waterfall Bar and the CF McCarthy's bar. She's countersuing and going after them as well, yes, but the original civil trial has begun based on the O'Keefe family. Appreciate you, Stan. Why were they suing her? So they're suing her for wrongful unaliving, negligence, and emotional distress. That's what they're suing her for. They are suing CF McCarthy's and the Waterfall Bar because of negligence, like over-serving somebody. So that's why they're going after them. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, like my thing here, guys, like, so they clean I can't say that word on TikTok, but so they clean the red fluid leading from the house to where he was found. No, Deidre, we don't know. I believe it happened in the garage. I've been saying this on my other account before it got hacked, that I believe it all happened in the garage. And if you guys haven't seen it, you guys should. Have you guys all seen the garage Google picture? Have you guys all seen that? Yes or no? It's me, Angie Marie. So what it will do is it's money. It's money, Angie Marie. That's what it comes down to. If you guys have not Googled this picture, can you all do me a favor? Google right now. Get off the live. I know the numbers are going to drop down. I don't care. Get off the live and go to Google Images and put in Karen Read Garage or Garage Karen Read Trial. And then come back. I will tell you what you're going to see. You're going to see something very interesting there. Go to Google and just put on Karen Read Trial Garage. Take a look at what you see there. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. E. Duggan, yes. Now, we don't know what that liquid is or what that fluid is. We don't know. But the fact is, inside that garage, there's a red liquid, a red fluid, a red substance that looks like if a head were to hit that and bleed out, it would make a huge mess. But take a quick look at that because they said it was paint. They did. They said it was paint. But to me, it doesn't. Does it look like paint? I don't know. It kind of looks like a red bodily fluid to me. And yes, they did say that they poured paint over it. They did. They did say that they poured red paint over it. What do you think of the condition of her car? Insane. It's nuts, and I'll go into that in a minute. So it was never tested because in criminal court, you need more evidence to support the DNA testing, but they can test it in civil court. And if you guys are wondering where that picture came from, the new owners of the house allowed Karen Read's defense team and investigators to go in there and look at all that. That's where that all came from. Now, just so you guys, if you guys didn't know, Alan Jackson was the lead prosecutor, or not the prosecutor, excuse me, lead defense attorney for Karen Read. He was trying to get that information admissible to the courtroom, but Judge Beverly Cannone would not allow it. Appreciate you, April. The judge would not allow it, but it will be allowed in civil court. It absolutely will be allowed in civil court. And yes, Karen Read's vehicle, it was finally returned to her this past week or so. And it was torn to shreds. Torn to shreds. If you are only looking at the tail light, then why is the inside so disgusting? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. How do you do that? To me, that's their way of saying, I can't believe you won. You're making us look like, you know what? And they ripped up her car. Jazzy, I appreciate you. Jazzy, I'm going to tell you this and everybody else. My old Laugh and Grind account was hacked. I have no affiliation with it. I have no access to it, nothing at all. If you guys didn't know that, you know now. Please continue to report it. It will eventually get taken down and follow here. But I have no access to it, so I have no way of telling anybody about it. So just wanted you guys to know that, but I appreciate you guys supporting me. It means a lot. Let's talk about Devers. Let's end the live with Devers. Now, if you guys don't know who Kelly Devers is, they were probably joyriding and saying, you're probably right. There's probably more miles on that vehicle now than it was when she gave the car up. So let's talk about Kelly Devers. You guys know who Kelly Devers is? Yes or no? Do you guys know who Kelly Devers is? And nobody give it away. Nobody give it away. I know a lot of you. Thank you guys for all those cute little gifts. Kelly Devers is a now resigned Boston police officer. Recently resigned. Over the last 15 days, recently resigned. Now, let me give you a little bit of information about Kelly Devers. You see, Kelly Devers said that she was working the night that Karen Read's vehicle came in, and she said she was looking on the screen, her computer screen, the surveillance screens. Thanks, Linda. And she was looking on the surveillance screens and saw Chief Berkowitz, Brian Higgins, and Michael Proctor, I'm sorry, not Michael Proctor, excuse me, Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz hanging around the back of Karen Read's vehicle in the Sallyport, which is like the garage of the police station. She said, yeah, they were there for a wildly long time. Then all of a sudden, she said all that, then all of a sudden she says she was brought into Commissioner Michael Cox, Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox's office, spoke, and then came back to testify. Guys, this happened in real time, by the way. Like, she completely retracted her statement that she made that I just told you in real time. Her goal when she met with Karen Read and her defense team was to tell them what she saw, which was, I saw Chief Kenneth Berkowitz and Brian Higgins hanging out behind Karen Read's vehicle for a wildly long time. That's what I saw, and it was really strange because that shouldn't have happened. Or no, she said, why would they be back there with Karen Read's vehicle? Isn't that like important evidence? So before she testified in open court, okay, she was actually brought up by the defense, guys. She was supposed to be the defense's witness. She comes up and goes, yeah, I wasn't working that day. I have a false memory of that, and I wasn't working that day. So whatever that was, I can't speak on it. It was a false memory. Little did we all know, and she admitted this later on, that she actually had a meeting, a private closed-door meeting with Michael Cox, the Boston Police Commissioner. And it got to the point where they asked her, did you have a conversation with Michael Cox? She said, yes. Was anyone else there? She goes, no, it was just us. Let me tell you guys something. What is the rank? Tell me, guys, what is the rank of the highest ranking police individual in a city? The highest ranking police individual in the city. Tell me. New York, Boston, Chicago. What is the highest ranked police official in the city? In the city. What's up, Melissa Ann? In the city. So far, no one's right. Nobody's right. It's the commissioner. There you go, Kim. Kim is correct. It's the commissioner. The chief is not the highest ranking. Lisa, you are correct. Mass V, Karen. It is the commissioner. The commissioner is the highest ranked in the city. Highest ranked official in the city. The commissioner goes directly to the governor and or mayor. You were right, Scylla Blue. You were right. Now, here's the point. You guys know me. I like to build it up before I do the mic drop. Anyone here who's in law enforcement will agree to this statement. Here it is right here. The commissioner, Linda, really on my mic drop moment? Really? The commissioner will not speak to a brand new officer with no rank by themselves in a closed door meeting, especially male and female, without union representation. Tell me you agree with that. The commissioner is not going to break chain of command to speak with a brand new officer or an officer of about a year in a room closed doored, especially a female of the opposite sex, without a member of the union there with them. Right? Chain of command is important, guys. If you're a brand new officer, you're most likely speaking to the sergeant or an FTO or a senior officer. Then you make your way to sergeant. The sergeant's talking to maybe the second level sergeant, maybe the lieutenant. Then the lieutenant's speaking to the captain. The captain's speaking to higher ranked captain. The chain of command. The commissioner is not sitting with a 1 year, not even an FTO, which is a field training officer. The commissioner is not sitting with a 1 year new Boston cop, especially of the opposite sex, in a closed door meeting without union representation. That's what tells me the conversation between the Boston Police Commissioner and Kelly Devers was not a good one. That was one that meant, hey, I know what you said. I need you to do the right thing here. And according to her words on the stand, he said, do the right thing. And we don't know what do the right thing means. We could say it's nefarious. We could say it's not. But when you have a closed door meeting without union representation, leads us to believe that you retracted that statement on purpose. And I want to end the live with this last statement, guys. Last statement. Very last statement before I end the live, guys. Kelly Devers said, and I quote, and the reason I'm ending it with this is because this is how she ended her testimony. Kelly Devers ended her testimony with this statement. My job depends on whatever I say on this stand. You guys can take that as you wish. My job is based off whatever I say on this stand. Think about that. She is telling everybody, if I don't lie or if I don't change my statement, I'm going to lose my job. They're going to go after me. Look at what they're doing, pretty much framing an innocent woman. What do you think she's going to do to me? And no, she didn't get a raise. She did not get a raise. So that's how I want to end the live. And no, guys, she did not get a raise. She did not get a raise. When she worked at Canton Police Department, she didn't lose her job. She resigned. When she was working with Canton PD, she was a part-time officer. She wasn't a full-time officer. When she went to Boston Police, which is a much bigger city, she got full-time benefits, full-time hours, and unlimited overtime. That was how she made more money. She did not get a raise. She did not have rank, just to be very clear. And she did not lose her job, so to speak, I guess. She did, but she didn't. She resigned. So that's it for these lives today, guys. I greatly appreciate you. If you guys haven't followed yet, can you please follow right now? We almost hit 100 for the live, so I greatly appreciate it. But I do want to be very clear. The reason I'm bringing up this case, the reason it's important is because a cop, and a good cop at that. You guys know it's 2025. We don't have a lot of good cops out there anymore. We don't have a lot of them. There's good cops. There's good cops. Yes, I'll be back tomorrow, guys. There is good cops, but we're missing a lot of these good cops. And when you have a good cop like that, John O'Keefe, and he's unalived, and we don't have answers for him, like, we're hurting for good cops right now in this world, especially in Boston, right? There's absolutely more good cops than bad. 100%, Scola. 100%. There's definitely more good cops than bad. But when we're just itching for good cops right now, and someone like that is unalived, that didn't deserve it, that's why we're talking about it. That's why we're talking about it. So, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate that. The conversations have been great. Absolutely, Scully, I agree with you. I will be live tomorrow. This will be recorded. This will be uploaded to my YouTube. You will see that, and you will see my live tomorrow. It will be on my story within, I'd say, the next hour and a half. You guys will see it. And yes, the live this Saturday with Brad Bradley and Sandy Ann will also be recorded. They requested that it be recorded, so it absolutely will be recorded for all of you. If you guys don't have any further questions, again, guys, I greatly appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. All the new followers, guys, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Bye, guys.